Well, now I want to introduce Rand and Seth Johnson, who own Crystal River Products. And I think you're really going to be impressed with them and their products and their company. They're going to be starting a build along of one of their models on the show on March the 6th. And so this is their opportunity to kind of introduce themselves to everybody who may not have known them in the past, and to show you the model if they're going to be building on the show. So Rand, Seth, welcome.
Thanks, Jim. This is Seth. You just get me tonight. My dad is off doing his day job, and he had a late meeting and couldn't join this one, but here I am. I'm coming to you live from a Walmart parking lot on the way to a family event in a different part of my state here. So the quality of the presentation may be a little lacking today. I promise it'll be better for the build along. But let me show you a couple things. I just prepared a brief introduction to who we are as an organization and maybe who we are as people a little bit to give you some background there. 1 second, and I will share. Hi, here we are. We're Crystal River Products. So this is us. That's my dad, Rand. My name is Seth. We have a strict 4-letter name policy in our company, so that if you're mad at us, 4-letter words just come naturally. The two of us have known each other for a long time, as you might imagine. He's known me almost as long as I've known him. We live in Utah. He's in a town called Tooele. I'm in the Salt Lake Valley. We have really enjoyed, as a family for generations, actually, trains of all sorts. My great-grandfather was a yard master for the Santa Fe in Los Angeles in the 19-teens. His son, my grandfather, lived in the Los Angeles area and was a train enthusiast, rode it to catch a ship to war and rode it home, rode the streetcar home from the port coming back after the war. And his son, my father, just took to trains naturally. It took me a little while longer. I thought I might be interested in some other things, but around the age of 12 or 13, I got into the proper road of things and enjoyed trains as well. You see on the right side, one of my sons. I have a great number of sons, and I had any hopes that one of them at least would catch the bug. They haven't yet. We're working on that. But we love narrow gauge trains, especially. And we spent some quality time in Colorado, family trips. My dad, myself, and one of my sons go, and we make it a special one-on-one time for that grandson. You can probably tell by the subject matter, or those of you that are familiar with the area, we love the Rio Grande Southern. And we have visited and walked most of the route that's publicly accessible. There's a large chunk of that line that is on private land owned by a certain fashion line designer from somewhere that won't let people traipse across his land. But other than that, we have walked, I think, most of it and taken some fun photos and really enjoyed that as a bonding experience. Just a beautiful part of the world. If you haven't been to that area and you have a chance, you should go. It's a little bit strenuous sometimes to cover that turf, but well worth it. And if you don't want to get out and hike around it, at least drive through it. It's well worth your while. Crystal River Products is a company. It was created by Tom Fitzgerald many years ago. I want to say 25 years ago. Man's a craftsman, fantastic engineer and a designer of kits. We bought the business in about 2018. I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. We operate it, my dad and I, as a bit of a side hustle right now. It is not a business that is scaled to provide for even one family, let alone two, but we very much enjoy it. We do our real jobs during the day, and then we sort of play with this business at night. We provide a high level of customer service, but it's all done in the evening hours. So if you try to reach out to us by phone during the day, you may end up leaving a message, but we'll reach back out to you. We will get back to you when the sun sets and we're off work. We bought it from Tom, who'd done it for so many years and done it so well. When we went to visit his workshop and sort of spec the business before buying it, I saw something I hadn't seen in about 20 years, and that was his computer. And the laser was of a similar vintage. And he knew how to operate that thing really well. The problem was that he didn't want to sell that stuff, and I couldn't buy another computer, whether I wanted to or not, that could run his old software. So it took us several years to convert the plans from the format that his coal-burning computer liked into one that I could get a computer to run. So that was the first year or so, and then we started producing a couple of kits, and we've been bringing them online a few at a time as we've gone along. We now have about 25% of the original full catalog up in production, and we're going to bring the rest along one at a time. It's just a matter of finding the time to translate the plans and get it ready to produce. So much more to come. So why'd we do it? We loved his kits. So I think both of us had been his customers before. And my dad reached out to him one time and said, hey, I need this structure in O scale. Can you do it? And he's like, well, no, actually, I'm shutting the business down. I said, no. And it just happened that I'd been through a successful kind of little exit in the business I was working for at the time. And we had a little bit of opportunity and a little bit of capital, and we were able to secure the business from him. He was kind enough to entrust us with the legacy of his hard work. We love the compelling prototypes that he models. They're largely Colorado narrow gauge related structures, and the remarkable craftsmanship of those kits. And I'll talk just a little bit more about that later, but it's all due to his work and his brilliance. We also wanted to support the industry. I guess on the younger end, I suppose, I think of myself as an old guy, but younger end of maybe the active participants in our hobby. And I want this opportunity to be available, these kits and these opportunities to model things well into the future, and supporting this little business and keeping it open and keeping its products available was one way I could do that, I thought. And then we just sort of wanted to do a business together. It's fun to work with family. It can be hard to work with family too, but because it's a side hustle and it's not something we're depending on to keep the lights on, I think a lot of the stress that you might see in reality television shows about families that run businesses together has not been present for us. We've just enjoyed being around each other and having a thing to keep us working along the same lines in a hobby that we both love. So the line itself, I'll just say a couple of things about that. I mentioned before, they're Colorado narrow gauge prototypes. I'll run you through a gallery in a minute of the kits that we offer. I'd say they are true craftsman kits, but they're accessible. They are, I'd say, something that anyone with a reasonable level of modeling skill can build. And at the end, you've got something that looks pretty remarkable and makes you look like a modeling genius, but didn't take all that kind of skill. I say that from a personal point of view because I'm not a very good modeler. I would rate my skills as being, mediocre at best. But I can successfully execute our kits because, in part, Tom designed a lot of super clever jigs. You don't need 7 hands and a space alien to help you build these things. You just need your own 2 hands and some basic tools and the very clever kind of cardstock jigs that Tom includes in the kits, designed in the kits, that hold everything together and make sure everything's lined up. Some really thoughtful design there. And it's not like my first experience with a Craftsman kit was as a 12 or 13-year-old, and I bought a Campbell kit. I love Campbell kits. It's fantastic. As a 12 or 13-year-old, I was never going to make that work. I was so excited. I opened the box, took out the instructions, and I saw beneath a pile of what looked like flattened toothpicks. And I put the instructions back in and closed the box and never went back to it. But I could maybe handle it now. But this is attractive to us, or was attractive to us, as something to pick up and continue because the kits are so well designed. And really anyone can pull them off. Here's just a quick view of our line, the kits that we have available today. We offer the Advanced Junction Coal Pocket from the Rio Grande Southern in HO, S, and O scales. We offer the Rio Grande and Rio Grande Southern common design 50,000 gallon water tanks. You can see that the one on the left is the hexagonal roof, and the one on the octagonal roof, and the one on the right is the round roof, more typical of the RGS. Then we have the 2-stall engine house, neat little kit, quite large in O scale. Most things in O scale are large, as it turns out, but HO and S available for that kit as well. We also offer this very clever little stock chute. You look at that and you say, oh my, like that's got to be a total pain in the neck. Nope, that is about, even for me, and I've told you before what I think of my modeling skills, that's about a 3 or 4 night build, a couple hours a night, allowing some time outside of the clock there for things to dry. And it just looks so impressive, and you can, sort of, flex on your friends a little bit there, but it's not that hard to build. We have the full stock yard, which includes the chute and then the fencing and the rails that go along with it to make the complete yard. This one's my favorite, I think. 4-pocket and tram house. It represents the structures that stood at Primos and Omega on the RGS. I think this one is actually more Primos than Omega, but I'm sorry, I may be squinting at it wrong. I've got my reading glasses on, but it's not working with this little screen. But it's a neat little build. Again, one that looks just immensely complex, but falls right together for you. And you can make it into an excellent little lion side structure. And then The last one I'll mention today is the small coal shed. And the reason I put it last is because this is the kit that we'd like to use for the build along. It is really small. In HO scale, it's like you can almost set this thing on a postage stamp. No, it's a little bigger than that, but it's got a remarkable amount of detail for the size. And you can build it in a couple of different ways. If you color it as on the left, you're going to have something that people look at and say, oh, Rio Grande or RGS, like that typical painting scheme that they used on their line side structures. People will look at that and think RGS or Rio Grande. Or if you don't model those prototypes and you just want a nice little structure with a lot of intricate detail, you can leave it bare and stain it or color it any other color you like, and it fits in pretty much anywhere. The outside framing makes it visually arresting. I really like the detail in the door. So you've got these little sort of fish bone, herringbone structures that go on the inside of the door, and you can slide in as many little individual slats as you'd like. The practice in prototype was to load some coal into the shed and put a board in to hold it in with the door open. And then you load some more in and you put another board in as you need to. And you could have the boards quite high up if the shed is nearly full, or you could have most of the boards removed if the shed was empty or near empty. And that detail, when replicated in HO scale, is just pretty impressive. But it's really easy to do. You've got a single part there that we have laser cut. You can stick that to the inside of each door, and it looks like you are a modeling genius, which is the intent. You also notice that we have, go back a little bit. We've got a couple of roof treatments possible. The one I'll be doing for the build along is with shingles, but the one on the left, probably more typical of the Colorado railroads, was the tar paper roof, but you could do it either way. So our website is crystalriverproducts.com. QR code included there for your convenience. I didn't have one in the presentation until I saw the first 2 or 3 presentations do it, and I thought that is outstanding, and went and grabbed one and threw it into the deck here. So take a screenshot of that if you'd like, or just go to crystalriverproducts.com. The other reason I picked the coal shed is it's our least expensive kit. And on top of that, we have a 20% discount available for watchers of this show. Jim, I think we put that in the video description, or I can distribute it elsewhere for this group to pick up. But if you'd like to build along, that's great. If you'd like to just watch us build it, that's fantastic. We do have the other models available on our website as well. But it's been great to spend a little time with you tonight, Jim, and audience, and we're looking forward to the build along starting in a few weeks here. Thanks for giving us a chance to introduce ourselves.
Anybody have any questions for Seth?
Jim, this is Jeff Jordan. I'll offer an unsolicited testimonial. As you may recall earlier, or last year, I showed the Vance Junction kit, which I built in O scale, and it is a fabulous kit. The detail is amazing. And as you said, take your time, use those terrific cardboard jigs, and it makes complex assembly go together well. Spent some time staining and painting, and I have a model on my layout that I'm really proud of.
Jeff, thank you.
That's great testimonial, Jeff. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments or questions? And Seth, yes, we will have this on our website. We also will have it in our newsletter. Like you say, I think the QR code is a great idea. But if you have not built one of the company's products, this is an opportunity for you to do that. Most importantly, this is an opportunity for you to have your own private mentor build the same kit that you're going to be buying and building. If you run into any questions or things that you want to discuss about it, the person that you need to talk to will be on the show, and you can log in and talk to them while they build theirs and you're building yours. So Seth, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. And we're looking forward to starting this on our March 6th show. Seth, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.